Hey everybody, what's happening? Welcome to your Tarot Tuesday for the week. It's September 7th. I hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Let's just jump right into it. Last week was an interesting week. We saw, we pulled the Devil card at the end of our collective reading for the week. And when we addressed the Devil card, we were talking about the ego and those things, those parts of ourself that are ready to basically peel off and peel away. That's what was coming to the surface. Old things, old habits, old patterns, old behaviors that no longer serve us. And that's what was really coming to the surface last week. So I did my meditation before I pulled the cards today, and I asked what's the general message for the collective, and it was renewal. Talk about renewal. And I really feel this personally in my life, especially because part of I was right in sync with last week's collective reading, and I'm already today, I feel the renewal of having looked at and seen those things that were coming to the surface and really spent some time with them and looked at them, reflected on them, loved on them, discussed them in some cases with people. And that was super, super helpful for that to come to the forefront of my consciousness. Because now it's like, okay, now that you're aware of this, what's the new choice? What's the energy reset? You know, now that we have an energy reset, how do we take advantage of that? And how do we choose consciously to move forward? Now that we've seen these things, well, how are we going to relate to them now moving into the future? And as soon as I jumped into today's reading, for those of you who have never seen Tarot Tuesday, I'll do a simple 4-card spread. The first card is the energy that brings us into the week. The second card is the energy that's strong with us. I like to say this is the wave that we can catch and we can ride. The third card are unconscious influences. And then the fourth card is kind of where we end the week, where we're headed, the energy around where we're headed in the future. So the first card that we pull is the Temperance card. The perfect card. I drew this after I asked in my little check-in, what should we discuss today? And when I came Renewal. Temperance is a card of focusing specifically on the balance of opposites, the tempering of polarities, the synergy between, the synergy of energy. It's very much a healing card. As you can see, it's a very colorful card. It does have all the colors in the color spectrum. So when I see that in a reading, in a card, I know that we're talking about integration. So integration is a really key dimension of the energy that is bringing us into this week. Integration, healing, renewal. The other thing is that we see the flame of spirit transforming, right? Down here. And this is a heron. That's a water bird. The heron is a water bird, which means, and it's got those long legs. The heron is able to stand in shallow water and see clearly to the bottom, right? So when I see this card, I also think about our emotions, being able to see our emotions clearly, being able to stand in them, and at enough of a distance to be able to see everything for what it is, and to integrate those things accordingly. So very much in alignment with the stuff that was coming up last week. So any of that icky, yucky stuff that was coming to the surface about our patterns, our addictions, our wounding, especially because when we get the Devil card, a lot of it comes from wounding, the wounded part of ourselves, and the patterns and behaviors that have developed because of that. We're seeing all that stuff clearly now. We're integrating it. That's what we have. That's what we're bringing into this week, which is really cool. The energy that's really strong with us, you pulled the Hierophant card. The Hierophant card is a 5 card. So it is a card of sort of, when I see 5s, I think of kind of like transition, being in flux and being in change. And the Hierophant card speaks to me about this is a good time for us to seek out basically new ideas, new philosophies, new spiritual practices. This is a good time to read, to self-reflect, to dive into tarot and astrology, religious texts, anything that nurtures your higher spirit. Anything that is a guide to your inner light, it's good to pursue that right now. So we have kind of like this lightning bolt kind of coming down, which I always liken to sort of that Uranus energy that is present with us right now anyways, astrologically, like the one we see in the tower. We've talked about the tower before and what kind of clarity and insight and inspiration that comes with that card, even though it's kind of dissolving things that need to go away. We have a similar thing, but this is more philosophical. This is more about sort of the ideologies, the beliefs, dogma, if you will, that is governing our lives. And in this particular case, the bird is holding on to a key. The key, we have the key to our inner light. We have the key to our inner awareness and illumination. So right now, grabbing hold of anything that would lead you to your highest truth and your own sort of inner enlightenment, this is a good time to dive into that. So meditation, introspection, reading, books about philosophy, self-help, psychology, astrology, anything that's self-reflective that works for you would be a really good thing to dive into this week, because I think that brings things to the surface. Now let's take a look at the unconscious influences here. We have the Nine of Swords. Clearly a very cute and warm and inviting card. Not so much. The Nine of Swords is a card, we're talking swords, and it's a 9, so we're at the end of the suit here. The swords I usually relate to mental activity, ego, air, energy, movements of the mind. And the 9 really talks about anxiousness, anxiety, heavy thoughts, self-negating thoughts, self-destructive thoughts, self-criticism. Those are the things that come up when I see the 9 of Swords. It's a burden of anxious energy and anxious thoughts. And this is our unconscious influences. And this isn't necessarily surprising, because you know we're coming out of last week, which was the devil was coming straight to the forefront, right? Right in front of us are our ego, our wounds, our addictions, our self-destructive patterns, those things that are binding us to an old version of ourselves that no longer serves us. We knew that was going to be front and center. So that energy isn't completely gone, but the good thing is it's kind of to a lesser degree, right? It's there. Be aware of it. Remember that we're working on renewing it and integrating it, making new choices about how we move forward. So don't be afraid of this energy here. Know that it's there. And I think what's nice is when we do little readings like these for ourselves, and we know that that energy is present, we don't like get freaked out by it, right? We don't have a wild thought or a fear pop up or get insecure about something and then spiral. Knowing that this energy is present and unconsciously sort of bubbling under the surface and percolating, we know that when it comes up, we can make that choice to step into Temperance and the Hierophant card and say, okay, I see you, I know what you are, and I'm gonna integrate this wounded part of myself into the personality by loving on you. I see you, I support you, but also whatever new ideas, beliefs, and philosophies I'm picking up or forging, those are gonna we're gonna kind of flip the script, so to speak, and you can change the story in real time as these things come up and they become addressed. To end the week and like kind of where we're headed, we pulled the High Priestess card. This is absolutely one of my favorite cards. It's a 2 in the Major Arcana. It speaks of balance, harmony, but most importantly, it's a card of the inner kind of divine mystic energy that is present in all of us and in all of life. And the thing about the High Priestess is the High Priestess uses meditation, silence, and stillness to allow things to come to her. And that is not only ideas, inspiration, insight, and sort of like mystical revelation, but this is the opposite of the card of doing, you know? So the Magician card, the 1 in the Major Arcana card, is a very active energy. It's activated, it's about doing, making things happen. The 2 is completely different. It's like, it's a divinely feminine card in that she's okay in the mystery. She's okay sitting still. And not only is she okay, but she thrives in that space. She excels because this allows her to see deeply into things that are maybe more subtle and less noticeable. So our intuition as we end this week, as we kind of get through some of the mucky muck that's being integrated, we're definitely going to be calling an energy where we're being asked to sit and to be still and to allow inspiration and insight and revelation to come to us. Don't do too much. Don't push too hard as you go through this week, because it's definitely a week of renewal, rejuvenation, healing, integration. Those old parts that came to our awareness last week and now are sort of like losing their grip on us, and we're welcoming in that Hierophant energy, the teacher, the seeking of the inner enlightenment, and also whatever mystical revelation, insight, and inspiration that's going to come through the High Priestess. We want to welcome that in too, so that we can integrate her secrets with our mind and our thinking, with our philosophies and our being. The High Priestess is about beingness, not doingness, but beingness. So really cool, really encouraging to see that. So there you have it. That is the energy we're looking at for the week. This feels really good. This feels very kind of congruent with the stuff that I've been feeling in my meditations and the channelings that I've been bringing through. So I hope this helps you on your journey. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Would love to answer them. Or you can shoot me a direct message. We can chat about it. This is in service to all the collective, but if you feel so inclined, you can drop something in the tip jar on Venmo at thebomberger. No donation necessary, but is always greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing how this reading serves y'all moving into the future. Adios.